Oh, this was horrible. Let's continue with something cheerful. Back to the Future Part 2. The second part in this wonderful trilogy. And honestly, my least favourite movie in the trilogy. Let me stress, I don't hate Part 2. It's still a really good movie. I just don't find it as entertaining as Parts 1 and 3. They're really minor, but I'd say Part 2 has more problems than Parts 1 and 3. It means virtually nothing in the end, really. Part 2 still makes my list for top 10 movies, and I'd watch it again in a heartbeat. That thing in the hall there, it's miles better than that. So let's see how well this holds up. Okay, first we have a promo for... wait, it's E.T. Well, talk about deja vu. Hopefully Part 3 actually tries something different. I say this because I haven't actually checked it yet, we'll get to that one later. So, 20 seconds in and we get straight to the point. When we last left Marty McFly, he had a brand new pickup truck and was about to make out with his girlfriend when his lunatic scientist friend known as Doc Brown tells of the bad news featuring his kids. Hey, is it just me or does Jennifer look different this time? It's not like she was recast or anything, but whatever. As the car prepares to take off, Biff emerges from the house and witnesses the car take off and disappear.
What the hell is going on here?
Well, that can't be good. After a cloudy title sequence, we catch up with the DeLorean as it lands in 2015 and nearly has a head-on sky collision. First things first, gotta knock out Jennifer, as she's pretty irrelevant to the plot. Upon landing in an alleyway, Marty changes clothes and learns that his son has been arrested for robbery and within 2 hours was tried, convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
Within 2 hours?
The justice system works swiftly in the future now that they've abolished all lawyers.
You know, Part 2 may be my least favourite, but if I have to compliment it on one thing, I love the new energy they gave to the character of Doc Brown. In the first movie, he felt like any other generic scientist. But in the sequels, he actually has some personality and can be seen as rather eccentric.
The intent here is to gain a clear perception of humanity. Where we've been, where we're going, the pitfalls and the possibilities, the perils and the promise. Perhaps even an answer to that universal question. Why?
After moving Jennifer and discussing a plan involving a guy called Griff, Marty ventures into Future Hill Valley and Doc leaves to intercept Junior. So this is Hill Valley of the future that is now Hill Valley of the past. Bullshit, the future has never looked this awesome. The real future kinda sucks when you look at this. So Marty ventures into the Cafe 80s and has a very interesting discussion with Biff about his father and is rudely interrupted by Griff, who just so happens to be Biff's grandson. So kids, what have we learnt today? The Tannins of Hill Valley are all just major assholes. To kill time, Marty has a game of Wild Gunman. What, you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy. And then the shit hits the fan and Marty Jr. walks in, followed closely by Griff. God damn it, Doc, you had one job! The complete wimp known as Junior gets knocked out and Marty covers for him, which leads into assault, Marty being triggered at the word chicken, some reckless vandalism, and a chase around the town square.
Something very familiar about all this.
Yeah, but it's different this time because this time Marty has a hoverboard. A hoverboard! You know, those things that actually hover. Are you the creator of these things? The Back to the Future fan in me says go fuck yourself. Quick story. As a kid, I, like millions of others, wanted a hoverboard. I saw this movie, and I also saw that very infamous Zemeckis interview where he states hoverboards were real but just weren't on the market. As you'd expect, I was heartbroken and severely pissed when I found out they weren't real. As it turns out, those hoverboards don't work on water unless you've got power! Holy shit, this movie's very quotable. Griff tries to attack Marty on a rocket-powered hoverboard, but all Marty has to do is step off his board and into the water. Straight goes Biff and his cohorts into the courthouse.
Holy shit!
Marty dries off and learns that the Cubs have won the World Series. A year early, but close enough. Who would have thought, huh? 100 to 1 shot. That gives him an idea. He proceeds to buy an almanac from a local antique store listing 50 years of sports statistics and proceeds to meet with Doc in the town square. Biff marvels at the sight of a flying DeLorean. You don't see that often. Bonk! Out comes Marty Jr. Wait, there's two of them? That's definitely not suspicious. Doc questions what the hell happened at the courthouse. Marty explains all, and Doc realizes the sleep inducer he used earlier on Jennifer didn't knock Junior out for long enough. Great, even in the future nothing works. Oops, wrong movie. But as it turns out, it is enough to change history and protect Junior from imprisonment. Time to go home. Ah, shit, he found the book. It's just a souvenir. Doc gives a long-winded speech about time travel and decides to bin the book. And then spots that police have found Jennifer's body and are taking her home to Hilldale. Thumbprint IDs and all. Okay, first we rescue her and then we go home. Just leave the fucking book. And then Biff finds it.
So, Doc Brown invented a time machine.
Oh, now that really can't be good. Marty and Doc arrive at Hilldale just as Jennifer is dropped off. Jennifer learns that Marty's life has gone to shit after some accident involving a Rolls Royce. Hey, does George look different to anyone at all? Doc tells her to meet her at the front door, but as she approaches, she meets her older self and that goes not well. As Marty changes his clothes and ventures into Hilldale, Biff arrives in a cab and helps himself to the DeLorean. Really not good. Doc calls Marty for help to carry an unconscious Jennifer just as Biff returns in the car. God knows where he's been. Uh-oh, heart attack. Hey old guy, you left your knuckle thingy. Doc and Marty load Jennifer into the car and Doc announces his desire to destroy the time machine and expresses his regret at never being able to visit his favourite historical era. Such a shame. Doc sets the time circuits for 1985 and off they go.
Did we make it? Are we back?
We're back.
Hey, there's a quote for the trailer. Doc and Marty drop off Jennifer and Marty returns home. But this isn't his home. Another family lives there. Run like hell! Marty ventures throughout Hill Valley and discovers what is pretty much a war zone. Biker gangs and teenagers run riot, his brother Dave is a raging drunk, and Vice Principal Strickland is a scarred vigilante out on a mission to take down slackers. Upon entering the town square, he discovers just about the worst thing he could. Biff is running America. Well, it can't possibly get worse than that. Oh wait, he married Lorraine? Well, shit. Marty is caught and knocked out by some familiar faces and wakes up to find his mother. She's so big. Marty witnesses an assault between his mother and stepfather and questions what the hell is going on. How could Biff be your husband? How could you leave Dad for him? After asking some much needed questions, Marty learns his actual father, George McFly, has been dead for 12 years. He meets the doctor at the cemetery, who proceeds to tell him that somehow the time continuum has been disrupted, creating this new temporal event sequence resulting in this alternate reality. Oh my god, I am quoting too much. It turns out Biff stole the time machine, returned to some point in the past, gave the sports almanac to himself, and created an alternate timeline known by fans as Biff Horrific. Before Doc can destroy the time machine, they have to return to the past to fix the future, which is currently the present. Everybody got that? Marty returns to Biff's Paradise Hotel / casino / whatever. It's the courthouse. He learns that Biff received the book on November 12, 1955 from some crazy old codger with a cane. He said he was his distant relative. He didn't see any resemblance. It turns out Biff was also told to kill anyone who happened to find out about the Almanac. Marty, run. A chase between Marty and Biff's goons ensue throughout the courthouse until Marty is rescued by Doc Brown on the roof. Now we have to return to 1955.
Unbelievable that old Biff could have chosen that particular date. It could mean that point in time inherently contains some sort of cosmic significance, almost as if it were the temporal junction point for the entire space-time continuum. On the other hand, it could just be an amazing coincidence. Damn! Gotta fix that thing.
Marty returns to 1955 again. Well, this is heavy. I mean, it's like he was just here yesterday. Amazing, isn't it? The Doctor instructs Marty to go into town and track down Biff, whilst he stays to repair the time circuits, which I'm sure will totally work out. Marty tracks Biff to the town square where he's picking up his car from a certain accident involving manure. $300 for a couple of dents? Now that's bullshit, Terry! After an attempted flirtation with Lorraine and some testicular damage for Marty, Biff returns to find old Biff in his car. He takes the young one home and explains how the Almanac works, before unknowingly leaving Marty trapped in the garage. Over the next several hours, Marty witnesses a stunning punch to the jaw, listens to some strong rock and roll, and drops sandbags on Biff's goons, while Doc experiences some strong deja vu in the town square. After a strong and rather dangerous tunnel chase, Marty finally recovers the book and burns it at the Leon Estates sign. Unfortunately, due to the incoming thunderstorm, Doc cannot land the car and is caught up in the wind.
Well, be careful! You don't want to get struck by lightning!
Oh boy. Well, the Doc's gone. Really not good. Super not good even. As Marty is mourning the loss of his friend, a stranger from Western Union arrives with a very old letter for a man answering to the name of Marty at this exact location at this exact minute on the day of November 12th, 1955. Marty opens the letter and it turns out the old scientist is still alive and has been living for the past 8 months in the year 1885. Marty realizes what he has to do. He races to the town square just as his younger self is sent back to the future, and this is what happens.
Doc! Okay, relax, Doc. It's me. It's Marty.
No, it can't be. Just sent you back to the future.
Yeah. Oh, I know you did send me back to the future, but I'm back. I'm back from the future.
Great Scott.
Doc!
You know, I think he took that rather well. Well, we shall conclude this tale later, but for now, that's Back to the Future 2. I stand by what I said earlier. It's still the worst of the trilogy, but that doesn't mean much. Sure, the future didn't turn out to be accurate, sure we didn't get hoverboards, sure we have Biff Tannen running America, and sure half the scenes in 1955 didn't match up perfectly to the scenes from the first movie. But my god, does this movie have heart, and extremely memorable quotes. It may be my least favourite of the trilogy, but I still love it to this very day. And at the end we have that anti-piracy warning. Oh fuck that, we're done here. Now as it's video memories, I have 2 stories to tell before we can wrap it up. Story number 1 involves the box set we're looking at. I received this in 2002. Naturally, I watched all 3 movies through immediately. But here's the weird bit, I watched back 2 last. Some may be saying, who does that? But let me explain. I was reading the back of the box, and the description for part 3 caught me off guard. It states that Marty is stranded in 1955 after a freak burst of lightning. I had seen part 1 beforehand. That was the one I saw all the way through first. I knew about the lightning bolt strike on the clock tower, but this description caught me off guard. Was there more to part 1 than I realised? And sure enough, I popped in part 3 and the first scene involved the clock tower lightning strike. Doc Brown cheering and Marty coming out of nowhere saying he had come back from the future. I was confused beyond all belief. As much as I love part 3, watching it before part 2 was a horrible idea. There's more to the story, which we'll continue next time. And then of course, we have to talk about one of the most notable and iconic world events based on this trilogy, Back to the Future Day. It was held on October 21st, 2015, and was held to celebrate the day Marty, Doc and Jennifer arrived from 1985. A lot of shit happened on that day. New Blu-ray box sets were released, the TV series was put out on DVD for the first time, the Telltale game was re-released for PS4, which was obviously a must-buy for me, come on. Wild Gunman was released for the Wii U. They even made a trailer for Jaws 19, that holographic movie seen in Part 2. It was huge. Even the fucking White House celebrated this date. The one thing I truly remember was how thousands of theatres worldwide, including some near myself, were running a marathon of all three movies back to back to back, over 6 or so hours plus intervals. Sure, I have several versions of the movie at home, but I just could not pass up this opportunity to see them all on the big screen. As you'd expect, the tickets sold out like hotcakes, but I got lucky. My family scored, and honestly, I want to say seeing them on the big screen is probably the best time I've ever had watching these three movies. The movies somehow were made more enjoyable this way. I found myself laughing at the movies in ways I had never laughed before. To wrap this movie up, let us relive the reaction to every Back to the Future fan that managed to score tickets to this movie marathon. I was there myself, so I know this to be truly accurate.
Alright, Doc, what's going on, huh? Where are we? When are we?
We're descending toward Hill Valley, California at 4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
2015?